So, the best agents to main in Valorant. Let's get straight into it. I'm going to make this video simple and easy to understand. I'm going to give you two options depending on what your goal is for Valorant, and it might go against things that you've heard other people say, but I believe it to be true. I want you to think and make a choice on what your goal is with Valorant. Are you playing to improve or are you playing to climb? In other words, are you willing to lose a few extra games in the short term to improve at a faster rate, or do you just want the RR now, and you want to know the best agents to do that with? If you want the RR now, and you want the best start possible to the new episode, you want to be playing heavy utility lineup agents. If you're below Diamond, I recommend playing Killjoy and Viper. If you're Diamond or above, you can also add Gecko onto the list. I recommend that you just choose one, but if you think you're going to get bored playing only one agent, then playing two is fine. If I had to choose one, I'd go with Killjoy because she's good on every map. The reason you want to be playing these heavy utility agents is because you can look up setup tutorials and lineup tutorials before you queue up, and instantly have the utility usage of a player 3 ranks higher than you. Having correct lineups and correct setups will win you a few extra rounds each game, and that's all that it takes to gain a few hundred RR more each act. Think about if you have a good Killjoy setup and it wins you the pistol round. If you win the pistol, you're probably going to win round 2. If you have a good Viper lineup, it might win you a clutch, and that might break the enemy's economy. If you break the enemy's economy, they're going to have less money in the next round, and you're probably going to win that round too, right? The reason I added Gecko into the higher elo list is because Gecko has a lot of utility that he can use for himself or his teammates. Agents with utility that is good for teammates become better the higher elo you are, since in low elo you could throw a perfect flash and your teammate might completely whiff or not even peek. This happens less often the higher elo you go, and because of that, Gecko is a great choice. Putting it simply, these agents win your rounds, and winning rounds wins your games. If you want to climb a few hundred RR instantly, drop the ego, pick Killjoy or Viper, and if you're Diamond or above, you can pick Gecko. But what about if your goal is to improve at the fastest rate possible? If you're playing to improve, you want to be playing Duelist. Let me explain. When you're playing Duelist, you take on the most responsibility out of everyone on your team. It's your job to entry site, it's your job to frag out, and it's your job to make space. This means that if you play well, you're going to win a lot of games because you're playing a very high impact role. But since the role is so high impact, if you play bad, you're going to lose, and if you want to climb, you're going to be forced to learn from your mistakes. I think of the Duelist role like shining a big spotlight onto your Valorant skill. If you lose games as Duelist, it's simply because you weren't good enough to carry. You had all the tools to do it with, right? This can be a bit scary to think about, but if your goal is to improve, this is the best thing possible, since your mistakes are going to be exposed and you can learn from them and become a better player. So, what are my recommendations on the Duelists you should be playing if you want to improve? If you're below Diamond, play Reyna and Phoenix. If you're above Diamond, play Reyna, Jet and Raze. Just like last time, I'd recommend you only play one, but if you think you'll get bored, you can play two. If I could only choose one, I'd pick Reyna, but choose the one that's most fun for you. The reason I recommend Reyna and Phoenix is because of their simplicity. Reyna has very little utility outside of her flash, which is one of the easiest abilities in the game to use since it literally shows you the outline of where it's going to be placed. Phoenix has more utility than Reyna, but all of his abilities are easy to use and hard to mess up. This simplicity means you can spend less focus on having perfect utility usage and have more focus on your gunfights. It sounds obvious, but the better you are at gunfights, the more games you'll win, and mechanics is the biggest thing holding lower elo players back from reaching a higher elo. Playing Duelist allows you to focus fully on your mechanics and encourages you to take lots of fights. This means that you'll improve at a much faster rate than if you're playing an agent that sits back, uses their util and enters site as the third or fourth person. Raze and Jet enter the higher elo list because they're harder to use and require a little bit more coordination than Phoenix. Knowing when to satchel or dash into a site is harder than just pressing ult and flashing out as Phoenix or Reyna. However, in high elos, having access to movement abilities, the nade on Raze and the ability to use the operator on Jet becomes more important, while in lower elo it isn't important. The best way to improve in low elo is to put 100% of your focus on getting good at rifling, which playing Phoenix and Reyna allow you to do. So to summarise, if you want to climb fast, pick heavy utility agents. If you're below Diamond, pick Killjoy or Viper. If you're above Diamond, add Gecko onto that list. If you're playing to improve, pick Duelist. If you're below Diamond, play Reyna or Phoenix. If you're Diamond or above, play Reyna, Jet or Raze. I hope this video made it clear on what agents you should be maining. I tried to make it as simple and as streamlined as possible while explaining my reasoning. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe since it will help my channel grow a lot.